Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest narration in the web series The Nature of Predators Book 2. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 51. Memory Transcription Subject, Taylor Trench, Human Colonist. Date Standardized Human Time, August 18th, 2160. The Rescue Military Headquarters were in an expansive complex, complete with dozens of avian patrols marching along to look busy. Thick metal walls encased the stone facility, making it look a bit like a castle from the outside. All it needed was a moat, and it looked like if General R.E. was living in a medieval fortress. However, the only things I saw once we got past the gates were a convoy of trucks, much like the ones that ascended the hill on the first day of boot camp. It was a good sign that we'd received swift authorization to enter the premises, but I still wasn't sure he'd go along with the vigilantism. After what Mafani had said, there had to be part of R.E. that doubted the underscales and the secret police. Gress was too disposable to get involved with this, so we needed a general on our side. Now a duo of guards herded us into R.E.'s office, at the top of a watchtower, staring at the holes in the staircase wall, which seemed perfect for an antique gun barrel to fit through. I found myself wondering if this was a genuine castle. Perhaps it was some kind of a modern one, or a retrofitted relic of an ancient walls mentioned. If both sides had to agree beforehand where to engage in combat, why would the aggressors choose to storm a stronghold? After bumbling through conversations at the spaceport, I wouldn't be asking our rescued chaperones for this place's background. I did file away another topic to broach with Gress on humans' medieval fortresses. You'd probably have a fit at the Knights of the Round Table being an actual name, with its simplistic, childlike flair. Knights in general would be a trip for the Krev, seeing full-plate armor, crested shields, like how rescues have family crests. Gress would find a way to coo at a hardened warrior holding a lethal sword because, look at the metal costume, what a precious baby. "Gress, what are medieval Krev like?" I asked. The scaly alien leaned his head back and thought,
"Well, there was an entire group of scientists devoted to studying the supposed effects of eating certain kinds of rocks. Nutripetologists, they still exist, although now they're focused on minerals, not magical properties. Even highly agnostic philosophers of the Krevet era, like Plessa the Grounded herself, believed in the rejuvenating powers of stone."
Does anyone still believe in that today? There were people on Earth who believed in healing crystals and such.
There are fringe Krev who seek out this alternative medicine, but where you'll most likely see it is in fantasy stories. We have a role-playing game called Crawlers and Fire Fossils, which is hard to explain, but Nutripetologists is a class. Usually either a healer or a stealthy poisoner.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about with those role-playing games. I can't believe you have D&D. I always wanted to play a real campaign, not one of the AI apps that I have on my holopad. We have got to have a session together. Will you show me the ropes of Crawlers? Bress's eyes lit up.
"I'd love to teach you. They say that I used to be a great chronicler, the person who guides the narrative. Cory dancing and CNF. I can't think of a better first date."
"This isn't a date?"
"I don't consider visiting General R.E. about too sensitive matters in that way, but I guess it's open for interpretation."
A smirk crossed my face. As we reached the top of the spiral staircase, General R.E. had his back to us, but I instantly knew it was him from the solemn way he carried himself. A projection of Federation space was open on a holographic display, along with a folder containing options for contacting the Civkits, something that must have weighed on the Hereskit's mind, since hearing Ansel's description of his species' erasure. No parties within the consortium had expected Tennis to have once been a property of the galaxy's locusts, and for its current status as a desert to be because of the Federation, not the Grand Herd. I suppose the exterminators would have burned Earth to the ground, one way or another. At least this way humans didn't become brainwashed like all of them. I offered a Terran-style salute before General R.E. acknowledged us and waved us in. "If you came all this way to get Gress's discharge undone, I'm afraid that will not happen," the avian said, a weary tone in his voice. "It was a mercy that I did not pursue any more punitive actions." I squeezed the Krev's paw reassuringly before shaking my head at the rescue. No, sir. I'm here to request my own discharge for PTSD. This is verifiable from my brain scans. If you do not believe me, I realize I am a liability and unfit to serve. I don't want to jeopardize my unit or my people, sir. Damn it, Taylor. I could have discharged you for PTSD at any time, but I let you stay to help you. I cut you a lot of slack. For high-ranking rescues, choosing a person to mentor is bestowing a great honor upon them. Taking you under my wing was supposed to be a symbolic of strengthening humanity, and fully embracing you into the consortium. I'm disappointed to see you squander the opportunity. I ducked my head. I'm sorry, sir. It's a wonderful gesture, and I mean that. I'm grateful that you've guided me, and that you found Mafani. It's no slight to you. I'm simply not the right human to fit here. For anyone's good, after everything that's happened to me lately. I know I should serve the consortium in other ways. You could have requested a discharge electronically and saved yourself a lot of time. There was no need to come here. I'll give you a medical discharge, but in the future don't start on goals you don't intend to see through. What happens if I just quit in this war and want no part of it? My path is locked, yet I'll stay the course.
Respectfully, we have to fight the Federation, Gress piped in. You heard what they did. I lack conviction in everything the consortium is involved with, except fighting them.
You talk like your Jaslip friend, who, mind you, I tried to give grace to as well. But she harbors too much bitterness towards Rescuts. Redeye slumped over the holographic display, stamping a thin leg in frustration. Something isn't right with our offensive. It should have taken weeks for the fleets to travel to their targets, yet it's been 2 months. At least one ship should have checked in for a report by now, but unless they never got to the destinations, or there were no drones left to report back. A lump formed in my throat. There were 150,000 ships per planet. They didn't know that we were coming. How could they? That's why I want to know what happened. I finally persuaded the consortium to send a select few scout ships after our attack party, to get some answers. Without contact, we have no idea how the battles played out. There are too many unknown variables. This was supposed to be a decisive decapitation strike. Sir, if they can't break into our star systems and we can't get into theirs, we're in a stalemate. A stalemate where their manufacturing capacity is always higher. They can outpace us in the long run. I'm not one to catastrophize, but it's a bleak outlook. We may need to start investing in our own arcs. Well, we still can. Perhaps one that can make the journey out to this galaxy where we'd truly be out of reach. The warrior must recognize a losing battle. It's a tenet of our military code. I need a proper information to make that assessment. My mind had gone numb at that thought of forsaking another home, even if I'd have Gress with me. That has to be the last resort, sir. We just rebuilt our lives. We're supposed to have new humans on the way. You have all your infrastructure, the rings, the cage. You can't just replace that. Things can be replaced. Our identity cannot. If the Federation were to win, that's why I wished to contact the Civ Kits along the way, if only to transmit the concerns of Axel's story. We could help give them a little bit of themselves back. However, the other delegates shot down my idea, too caught up in their own agendas. Mayor Hathaway wished to send more ships to go for the kill, while the rest wished to trundle up, sinking back into our shells to play the defensive. I was lucky to sway them to investigate it all.
We don't need to assume the worst. With the travel time in store, it'll take the drones a few weeks, right? We should stay positive until then, Gress managed.
If these strikes failed in what was supposed to be an overwhelming show of force, there is nothing more the consortium has to throw at them. These aren't the weak, incompetent prey tellers told us they fought against. What? We don't know that they failed, General Redeye. The Rescut's eyes were agitated. The scouts will report back in a few weeks. The risk of dropping buoys to communicate back home was finally deemed acceptable. We'll know what transpired soon enough. What I hold with certainty is that we'll burn Tenet ourselves before we let them burn it. I ran a hand through my stringy hair. We routed them at Tennis thanks to the home field advantage. That's the least secure planet in the consortium. Surely Tenet isn't in that much danger. I don't know, Taylor. The Federation appears to have assimilated some human techniques they might have learned from you. You see it, don't you? I saw it the moment they showed up here with drones, I murmured. General Dye, are you okay, sir? Your judgment seems impaired between the stakes and the guilt of the Civ Kits. Trust me, you don't want to make decisions for all of us from that kind of mindset. My honor is being tested on all fronts, but I am fine. Rescues endure. I was unconvinced by Redeye shrugging off my concern, but it was evident the suspicion against the underscales and the truth of the Sipkits had taken a toll on him. Perhaps Gress wasn't the only one who lacked conviction in the consortium's policies. Director Roll might have foiled his public interrogation, but the fact that the general had been willing to believe Black Ops would do something as heinous as slaughtering Jaslib children was telling. It might explain why he let Quana's bitter remarks slide. Well, I believed Redeye hadn't shown the truth about Gress' run-in with Jaslib extremists. He'd been aware of their dirty tactics all the way back to when Mafani had kidnapped me. The Rescut knew there was rottenness in the Casey's hidden agencies. Just like it made perfect sense to Gress, I think it put the pieces together for Redeye too. He heard Mafani's claim and had that immediate certainty that it was true. He wants to dig around more in what those departments are up to, enlisting his help to undo their neglect. How they squandered the opportunity to use their reach for good should be easy. You asked why I didn't resign electronically. It's because of what we need your help with. There can't be a paper trail, I said. Gress and I watched you question Roll. He stonewalled you. General Redeye stared directly at me. Trench, I hope you haven't convinced this Krev to go on some half-baked revenge plan. I'm not going to help you hunt down underscales who are allegedly involved. That's not what we wanted. That's, not who I am, at least. It's not who I want to be. Gress patted me on the back. Taylor talked to me about vigilantism, Redeye. Him leaving military life behind is a sign of growth, even if you don't recognize it as such. He might have joined to seek revenge, but he's left that path to find other ways of helping. Honorable ways. You know nothing of honor, either of you, Redeye spat. What it means to bow to another's wishes, to put yourself aside altogether, leading, maintaining order, devoting one's life to dutiful service, regardless of the burdens that come with it. Don't belittle my intelligence by claiming this is about honor. But it is, sir. There are many forms of honor, and protecting those who can't protect themselves when you have nothing to gain. That's honor. I took a step towards the Rescut, determination creasing my face. Gress knows of wrongs that the consortium has overlooked, and he wants to correct them. A list of victims and perpetrators that your surveillance caught, but deemed not worthy of helping. Come on, Redeye. Doesn't that make you angry? My emotions are irrelevant. I will not be baited into some impulsive explosion or rash decision. Humans have a concept of righteous anger, Redeye. You shouldn't feel nothing when you see injustice. There is no honor in being heartless and emotionless. It's not rash to want to change things. It is not honorable to blindly obey a system that doesn't care for life or morality. How dare you cast judgment on my motivations, or tell me how to conduct myself? Because you're the only one who can help us, General, and I want to believe that you're a good man. I want to believe that you care. All you have to do is look into these names and try to see honorable justice carried out. I passed Redeye a thumb drive of the names and watched as he held it up with suspicion. You have the power to expose the consortium's underbelly and to make a better society for billions of sapiens. You tried to out their callousness with Roll, so don't quit now. You told me you see things through. Gress cleared his throat.
Taylor's right. You might not have known the truth with what happened with Mafani and myself, but you don't have the same excuse now. Criminals are walking free, while their resources go to staging child executions. You can't claim ignorance this time, Redeye. You can do something about it. Something that'll help at least a few people. You can make a stand.
I have billions of lives hanging in the balance of my decisions, and you think I have time for that I should prioritize a few criminal cases that left a sour taste in your mouth? Redeye demanded. Someone has to decide those handful of people are worth helping. If you believe they're insignificant, where do you draw the line? That's exactly what the listeners and the underscales are doing, with utter disregard for any small number of lives. I want to believe there's someone in government who's better than that. Whatever you think of us, please help them. The General muttered a few curses to himself before plugging in the drive and pursuing its contents. I'll see about forwarding this data to the proper authorities and making sure it doesn't get buried. I can't promise what happens from there. Thank you, sir, I exclaimed. relieved that we'd been able to persuade the rescue. We can't thank you enough for all you've done to help us. It was an honor to serve under you. Trench, I know you hated listening to a word I said. I suggest you find a job in the Tennis Militia or something with a lot less order. Now, you're dismissed. Both of you, go home while you still can. Keep your chin up. Gress is right. We don't know the drones are gone. Might I leave you with a parting quote? I think you'd like it, judging by the losing battle code tenant that you had going on. Red Eye stared at me like I'd grown a third eye. Why on tenant do you think human quotes are at all like my code? Because it's from the art of war. You seem like the type that reads strategic military wisdoms to your kids as bedtime stories. The rest had gawked at me for a few moments before ducking his head in reluctant agreement. I took that as my sign to continue. While backing towards the exit door of his office, the last thing I wanted was to get charged at by Red Eye, after seeing how he'd sent Gress flying back in the bunker. If you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you'll suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you'll succumb in every battle, I recited, a nervous grin on my face. Red Eye tilted his head. That might be the most intelligent thing you've ever said to me, Trench. I'm surprised you'd even have those kinds of quotes floating around in your head. I definitely didn't memorize a few of the best quotes to impress you, sir. The point is, we need to know more about the Federation, given how we didn't know that they've been active in our own backyard. Maybe those scouts can give us some useful information, and we can figure out exactly what we're up against, how to take them down. It definitely would help our planning not to be running off a 24-year-old information. We are flying blind and clearly unaware of their true capabilities. I'll hold out hope that we can learn something that can turn the tide, and that it is not too late for a meaningful victory. But I've said enough words on military affairs to 2 discharged soldiers. Take care of yourselves, Taylor and Gress.
You do the same, Red Eye,
Grev replied. With our business on tenant left in capable wings, Gress and I departed from the tower office. The hope I'd felt when we joined with the consortium that we might be able to defeat the Federation, that we could reclaim Earth, just like my Kriv partner had spoken about, was now mired in uncertainty. As catastrophic as it would have been for the Crocodile to pay for genociding my species, I knew that avenging humanity wasn't my primary goal anymore. Convincing Red Eye to bring about action on the forgotten listener files was making a difference, in a small capacity that I could. It also kept the alien I loved from putting himself in harm's way to deal with his pain. Whatever happened on the war front, I deemed my personal mission a success. End of chapter. I would like to thank our T5 members and patrons, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Whitmore, 050, Dragzoon W.R.E, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.